So what I'm going to do basically, these have already been uploaded, these PowerPoints have already been uploaded to the Moodle portion of the class in the resources area under PowerPoint. And there's 2 of them, and if we get through both of them, that'll be great. If we don't get through both of them, we'll just schedule something else to go through the second half. But I'm probably going to try to push quickly because I only have a certain amount of voice in my life today. And I forgot what I was going to say. So they're there, and the reason why I want to point out that they're available for download from the Moodle classroom is that there are a lot links inside Second Life and outside Second Life that can help you if you're new. Oh, great, thanks. And I think that's the main purpose of this. I've got a PDF version of it up in the classroom because they're kind of large slideshows, but because of the illustrations and so on. Welcome, Graphics. Glad you found us. But the 2 that are in the classroom are PowerPoint, so that should be a little bit easier to use. So let's go on here. And I think that you can customize the look of it on your end of it, but I'm not so sure about that. So if they look wonky, just let me know. So I just wanted to say, normally I do this in the first week of the course when everybody who's new to Second Life is feeling really new and having trouble sitting down and dealing with things and so on. So whether you're just starting out or you've been around for a week or you've been around for a long time, I just want to give some advice about what's going on and some tutorials and some resources that you can use to help your journey be better. So we'll talk about finding tutorials in newcomer classes and newcomer-friendly neighborhoods, the menus on the Second Life Viewer 3.0 and third-party platforms, managing your inventory or how not to drown as you start piling more wonderful stuff into your inventory, chatting and keeping a chat log, and finding out about people around you, opening boxes, changing clothes, and then some other advice. And I want to say, I know yesterday, I think it was, Drax was saying we were all new at one point. We're all newcomers at one point. And my first day in Second Life was way back in 2009 when Iski Island still existed. And at that time, you could actually choose a place. I don't think you can choose anymore, but you could choose a place where you wanted to do the entire thing even before you got in. So you'd go down a list of welcome centers that you wanted to use, and you'd click, and then off you would go. And I chose Isti, and I took the friendly lady, the girl next door person, and I got to Isti, and the very first thing up the road from the information on how to walk and fly and not get stuck and all those things was a freebie store, and I got a suit, a ladies' professional suit. So I put on the ladies' professional suit, but my immediate problem was I had no clue whatsoever how to take off the other clothing. And in those days, you couldn't make an outfit and replace an outfit. You had to just kind of see what you were wearing and try and figure it out and try to get rid of whatever the thing was that you had on before. And the only thing I could think of was to click on everything and drop it. I was so nervous I didn't even see the word detach, which sends something back to your inventory whenever you detach something. Detach. That sends whatever that something is back to your inventory, and if you drop it, it literally gets dropped somewhere in the environment. So I left my skirt and my shirt on the walkway outside the freebie store, and probably years later, I'm back. My internet just disappeared on me. Yeah, I'm back. Can you hear me? I lost my internet for a second. It happens frequently in the afternoon over here. Oh, good. So a couple years later, I was sitting around with a social committee talking about things, and Scott Merrick was a member of that committee at the time. And, it was just one of those days. I can't answer that phone. I have to get my brain back. I'm sorry. So I was sitting there. No, it's okay. My husband picked it up. I was sitting there and we were talking about strange things, and one of the other women said, "Oh, this one day I was walking around Iffy Island and there was this skirt just lying on the ground and a top next to it," and I thought, this is ridiculous. This is a newbie that didn't know to detach rather than drop. So we need to have a detached, need to have a little tutorial about that before you get to the changing room. And I said, I think that might have been me. And we all thought that was kind of funny. What can you do? So we're all there. So one of the first things I wanted to say is that you don't have to get all your newcomer training inside of Second Life. I wanted to put down, not only these are our playlists, but this is the 2014 and 2015 playlists, which actually are not complete. I'm determined that we will be complete as we go along this year. And then this year's playlist. This is the Second Life tutorials playlist on the Second Life channel. If anybody has a favorite source of information out on the internet for skills in the Second Life, just go ahead and put that into the chat. I love those Second Life tutorials. Charlie Linden had the most melodic and sweet voice and made you feel very safe and teaching you all the things that you needed. So you don't have to get all your information on Second Life. This is another great blog. This is from a person called Strawberry Singh. And this particular entry is called Advice for Second Life Newbies. And it's really quite lovely. She talks about how to make friends and how to choose what to do and how to feel about yourself and how not to worry if you're new, because everybody started out that way one time or another. And then Canary Beck also, My Newcomer's Guide to Second Life. That's a really good post as well. So there are a lot of blogs and things that you can get. I would imagine that Jarek, your university, has a bunch of wonderful things. I love the photographs of your campus and so on. So you can also look on SL.com too. Yes, I'm waiting for the quote. Yeah, it doesn't, unfortunately. But I think we all knew what you were doing. Not to worry, but what the heck? I couldn't remember how to do that yesterday, so that's quite good that you did that. Now I'm going to remember. And then you have Second Life resources. The destination guide is always your friend. That and search. So when that destination guide comes up as you come into World, they will usually give you information on what is a newcomer-friendly sim and what is not, and that's very important. You could also search on the Second Life website for newcomer-friendly sims, and these are places that are specifically not full of people that are going to come after you. You're not going to get jumped on like one of the presenters at the ISTE panel was saying that her first minute in Second Life somebody jumped on her. You just don't, you don't have to go, or it might have been Janelle Heron, but you just don't have to go through that anymore. My thing was, as I was running into running to get to the place where I could leap off and go to ISTE, or I guess I was on the ISTE pathway, there were all these people on top of me who were yelling at me to move faster and clearly were not ISTE members and not very friendly. So now that there's, over the years, they've built up a number of places that are just absolutely newcomer friendly. And these are some of the better ones. This one is Newcomer Questions on Second Life Discussion Forum. This is a location, Helping Haven, New Resident Island. I'm not sure if that's still there, but Caledon Oxbridge is definitely, and that's a fantastic place to go at the beginning because there's an enormous amount of wonderful help going on, not only in terms of wallboards you can read and learn from and try a skill out without anybody bothering you, but also because there's a lot of docents around. So you have individuals who are there just to help you, and they'll come up and say, can I do something for you? And that's so helpful because you're in a new place and you're not quite sure what to do. So basically, those were my best recommendations for finding a newcomer-friendly area. And I always would look for, initially, the adult stuff was all mixed in with us. So while you could set yourself to general or moderate, you didn't know if the guy next to you was what that person was doing. And now there's a separate grid altogether for a lot of the adult stuff. Clearly that doesn't work all the time, as we could tell from our visitor to Nina Lancaster's talk last night. But in general, it works very well. It's a lot better than it used to be. So you just need to get yourself into a new vSIM, and a lot of these places will let you set your home to that spot. You can also do that with the SLMOOC headquarters. If you're a member of the SLMOOC group, you can set that building as your home. And then if you get yourself in trouble, you just click on World in your viewer. I'll show it to you in a second, and teleport home, and I'll take you right back to the SLMOOC headquarters building, so if you get yourself in trouble. But these are really important for you at the beginning, and it's important for you as you go along, too, because a lot of these places have wonderful other things going on. Caledon is a great source of music and great place to live, lots of community events and so on. So then I wanted to say that I know some of you are experienced enough that you are using other viewers other than Second Life viewers. The Second Life viewer. So the Second Life viewer obviously comes from Linden Laboratories, who made Second Life, and that's the primary one that we all use. And then there are a whole variety of other third-party viewers. Firestorm is a very common one that people use. Singularity is another one, and there's a whole bunch of other ones. And they're interesting in the sense that they have different. Excuse me, one sec. Firestorm is a viewer. I'm going to show you the differences between them on some of the next slides. Singularity is very good, and there's a whole bunch of them, and some are better for builders, some are better for people that are managing classes or managing sims. Sometimes we use them both at the same time. In fact, when you see these next slides, you'll see that I was doing that. I had Josephina Larimore in one viewer and me in the other one. And I kind of wander around between them depending on what I'm doing. And certainly, not a problem, Maria, welcome. Certainly if you're going to be going to an open sim world or in worlds or DigiWorlds, which is where we're going to go to see Eugenia's talk, you're going to another world that is not Second Life, then you need a third-party viewer to do that, a third-party viewer. So it's always nice to kind of look at those. And you can get information on the Second Life Wiki about those. You can take a look at other places. This one is a really good blog, and this is called Viewer Settings Newcomers Don't Know in Second Life. These are the Firestorm menus. This is a tutorial about the viewer left-hand menu, and then these are where all the tutorials are for Firestorm. So there's lots of help out there in terms of using other viewers, and they can be very helpful. Now, for instance, the Second Life viewer in the third version plus, the one we're all in, this is what an inventory menu will look like. So it's got a particular color scheme, and it's got particular icons. This is the Firestorm viewer, which resembles more the old Second Life viewers before 3. And it uses some of the features of the old Second Life. But welcome, Sumoon. It's a wonderful viewer. I mean, it's really good for a lot of things. It has a lot of features that not only can you go to other worlds, but it's got a lot of other features that the SL viewer doesn't necessarily have. One other thing to notice, I'm pointing without my pointer here. So this is Second Life. This is the Firestorm viewer. This little button down here is very useful. Well, first, this one is also very useful. This one gives you your options for your folders in your inventory, so you can, if you've got everything open for one reason or another, and you didn't mean to do that, you can always click on Close All Folders, and then you'll just get back to this thing that gives you the list of the folders. You can see at the time that I did this, I was building Lake Chilbo, because I had colorful seaweed as a subdirectory. You can also empty your lost and found if you feel comfortable about doing that. You can change the way that your inventory is set up, and you can empty your trash. This little guy here allows you to make a new note card or a new new folder or whatever you need, or upload images or sounds or animations or whatever you might want to. So these two little guys are great. And then this is a nice thing in the new inventory for the Second Life viewer, is that you see what you recently bought. So here you see again a difference, and I'm just going to scroll through these without commenting to save my voice a little bit. This is a third life second life viewer, like I need a third life, and then this is the way Firestorm looks. So it's really close. It's not so very different. More people than me are coughing in the household, as you can tell. Dog? Wait. I'm missing a dog. What did I say? I don't know. Okay. So this shows you how the when you right click on everything, that universal thing that you right click on everything. In Second Life, you'll see this drop down menu. If you were right clicking on yourself, and it shows you that you can edit your shape and all the stuff. We talked about this when we were making different things. Oh no, that was another person in the household coughing. In Firestorm, it still has these circular menus, and it gives you the similar options. And if there's lots more options, it'll say more in one of these little pie slices, and you can go on to a secondary circle. So there's Josephina. She was in Firestorm, and I was in Second Life. So here's me right-clicking on Josephina, and this is what it looks like when I right-click using Second Life Viewer. And when Josephina clicks on me using Firestorm, she gets basically the same options, but in this circular version. This one is the profile. If I right-clicked on Josephina and using Second Life Viewer, this is how it would look for the profile. In Firestorm, it actually gives you quite a lot more detail, and that some of this detail, like this is the key for the identity of the avatar that I've whited out here, probably wouldn't be available if you weren't the owner of the other avatar. But sometimes I think that Firestorm gives actually too much information in that first part of the screen. But you get basically the same list of information. It's just that you have a different type of a viewer. So the differences are not can you now? Okay. I never tried that. Yeah, so you can set it up. That's good. In any case, if you don't do that, if you don't, go back to the old viewers, not to worry about it, because you're going to be able to figure this out if you just be flexible and just take a look at what comes up. So like the benefits of friending up, that's one thing that I wanted to mention was when you friend up with a person, you've probably noticed if you're a newcomer, now you're able to see their names when logging on, and you can find their names more easily by clicking on people, that little people icon, and then looking for them in the list so that you can write them a note. And you can make notes on their profiles about who they are and how they met, or if you've got an appointment coming up or you're going to do something together or whatever. So this is Firestorm, and this is Second Life. And then another thing we all know is that right-clicking is like the universal thing in Second Life. You right-click on something and you can do something. And I know people have had a little bit of trouble with this. I think I'm just going to go flying by this because I think everybody knows how to do this already. But it's the thing about opening a box, that you right-click to open the box, and then you can copy, add it to the inventory. If it's a whole outfit, you can replace your outfit or add it to the outfit, whatever. But right-clicking on everything, left-clicking and right-clicking, whatever's in front of you, click on it, because you never know what it's going to do, and that's really wonderful. And then this is the other thing about looking at wearing in my outfits, and then how you get that info in there. And that was something that you've got already tutorials for, so I won't dwell on that. Now, my advice here is give yourself the time to sit down someplace quiet where nobody's going to bother you and just click on everything on the viewer you're using and take a look at all the options and see what they can do. And if they're arrayed on the left-hand side of the frame, that's fine. If they're arrayed on the bottom, if you're going through the menu on the top, it doesn't matter. Just give yourself a day where what you're doing is sitting still someplace or other, being on a swing like this one up in the sandbox, and exploring the viewer and what the viewer has to offer. And then as you think about what you're going to be using virtual worlds for, you can think about what you're missing, that maybe there's something you need and you don't see it and you want to look for it someplace. Whenever you scroll up, the blinking, oh, when I move the slides, you get blinking? Is that what you mean, Vulcan? Only when I go up, so back to the previous slide. Okay, sorry. Anyhow, when I go down, I don't know what that is. I don't know. I wish I knew what that is. I'll ask Ellie next time I talk to her. She may know. Because she's been using a lot of PDF PowerPoint. Yeah, you have, Alexander. I think it's really worth it. It's also worth it to sit someplace quiet and go through your inventory and get rid of stuff that you don't need. And there's actually places around where you can donate things that you don't want to have anymore, as long as they have permissions. Yeah, me too, in 2009. As long as something you have can be copied or modified and you can give it to somebody else without a problem, then you can donate it. There's actually yard sales and things like that. So the secondlife.com is actually your friend. There's lots of advice and examples. There's lots of links to YouTubes and tutorials. You can get on those knowledge-based forums and ask anything that you want. I even had a situation where I had a building and it was mesh and I couldn't figure out how to get rid of the floor on the second floor. I wanted it to go straight to the building because I'd never played with mesh before. And I got on a forum and I asked anybody if they knew the person who built the building, and somebody put me in touch with them so that I had a name, when I sent them a note card. And that person came over and taught me how to do it. So that was kind of amazing. So, and once I had a griefer, and the security person for the neighborhood wasn't around, and I got on the Second Life forum and asked a question, and literally one of the people on the forum came in to my area in Second Life and solved the whole problem for me. It was just astonishing. So there's a lot of people out there that are happy to help. You can also go to Google and ask how-to questions. You can phrase them as actual questions, and there's an awful lot of material out there that can help you. You can explore the newcomer orientation areas, or fly back to one you've been in before and ask somebody advice. Radar notifications in chat, they usually show up at the left-hand side of the viewer, and they're good to get. And there is a free radar HUD in the Second Life MOOC building that you can grab. There's a little thing that you can grab and wear, and it allows you to see who's coming. Basically, it tells you who the avatars who are coming and how far off they are and so on. And that's kind of useful because it tells you how many people are around. One way to look at how many people are around is to click on Minimap, and that's at the bottom of that's in your toolbar, the Minimap. You can click on that, and that'll show you where all the people are in your area. Sometimes you go to an event and you're at the landing zone for the sim and nobody's there. And if you click on Minimap, you'll see all these green dots lined up someplace else. So what you do is you click near the green dots and teleport over there, and then usually it's your event, hopefully. A couple of times it hasn't been in my case, and I've had to go home quick. And then received information, animation menus, and all that stuff. Anything that comes up that wants to say, oh, you're getting this from the store, isn't that cool? Yeah, right click. You're getting this from the store, isn't that cool? That's going to be a dialogue on the right-hand side of your screen. Down on the left-hand is where that chat or the radar hub is going to be. But up on the right-hand corner, you're going to see you bought something, or asking if it can animate your avatar because you've clicked a dance ball, or something else will come up in that right-hand side. So it's kind of nice. They're separated enough on the screen that if you've got a small screen, they're not going to be overlapping each other, hopefully. And this might be, I don't know, I think there's still a little bit more here. Yeah, 2 more slides. Other advice, if you're faced with unpleasant people, fall back on that right click. Right click on their bodies and mute them if they're saying something really terrible. Fly away from them if you can. Click on a favorite landmark in your inventory and teleport someplace else. If they are super unpleasant, if they're abusive or inappropriate, you can right click on their bodies and click on report, and you report abuse. Or you can click on help and report abuse, which is up here. So you can either right click on their body. If you can't catch them, you can click on help and report abuse. And then the deal is take a picture of them if you know how to do that, and describe what they're doing. Try to get their name and report them, which is the thing that we did with the naked guy with the gun the other night in Nina's talk. If you know the manager of the region, IM them privately and ask them to eject the person. That's what I was doing during Nina's talk, was trying to get a hold of security for Chilbo and another land manager who could keep an eye out for our unwanted visitor, which was the first time in probably 2 years that we've had that problem in Chilbo. So what can you do? Interesting. That's wonderful. And the sanctuary, how does the sanctuary work? Is it just a safe place for people to go, but does it keep other people out? Oh, it's Maggie Larimore, sorry. That's my avatar. I actually have several of them for different things. Like, I was inspired by Eugenia, who has lots of altars. Josephina Larimore is one of my altars. I use her to, do things. If I have to interact with somebody like I did with those 2 viewers, she's handy for that. Okay, and in this case, when I was first in Second Life, my husband was also in Second Life with me, and I am. We had a house on Star Trek Museum Island, which is no longer there, and they moved to another place. And I was up, my avatar was up in the bedroom changing clothes, and my husband was coming in, and we were going to go dancing. And I saw this name of a person I didn't recognize with a message saying that person was messing with my TV on the main floor. And I called down and said, "Hello, can I help you?" And the guy writes in chat, "I'm going to live here." Like, oh, no, you're not. So I go down, I finish getting dressed, and I go downstairs, and here's this naked guy, fully loaded, shall we say, playing with my TV. So I said, you have to leave. My husband is coming, and you can't be here. And he said, "I like you. I like house. I'm staying in my house. I will live here." So while he's telling me all of this, and I was completely flummoxed and didn't know what to do about it, at that time, adulthood was like all together. With all of us, I am the head of the region, and told her what was going on, and she was gonna come over to me and click on him and ban and eject him from the sim, but he finally got the message that Carlos was on his way in as Rodolfo Mirabella, who he is, and my husband's avatar. He transported himself to the Star Trek Museum Island, where the manager to the Star Trek Museum Island Museum, where the manager of the region was waiting for a woman who was teaching a 4th grade class, and they were going to project the museum on a screen in a 4th grade classroom. And she took one look at this guy and banned him forever from the island. So you can find other people to help you if you have problems with griefers as well. And if you get stuck in a building or under something, you've clicked on a landmark and the thing that Second Life thinks is there really isn't there anymore and you can't get out, just click on another landmark and teleport away. Some public places will say you can set your home to here. If you're a member of the SL group and you've activated your group tag, so you're wearing your group tag, you can set your home to the SLMOOC headquarters. You don't have to have your tag on if you want to come back and teleport home, but just set it to begin with. If somebody doesn't respond to you, be patient because they might be a speaker of another language. They might be away from their keyboard. They might have some kind of difficulty in communicating because they're using more equipment than you're using. So that's a very good thing that happens when you get into Second Life. You begin to learn to be extremely patient talking to people, and I think that pops over into real life. So here's some more specifics. So what we're doing with this is we're basically just trying to give you a framework to hang on which you can hang some skills that we'll be practicing in the workshop when we're finished here, and that you can practice at any time in the Greater Chilbo Sandbox or anywhere in Second Life. And there's lots of great places to take building courses and so on, and I mentioned those as we go through. So obviously your viewer, you've got your menu at the top, you've got your toolbar at the left-hand side or along the bottom, or you can remove all this stuff and pile it over here or put it over there. You can customize the positioning of all of this. This is really important because this is your address bar. This is how I get the swirls. I'll click here and the name will disappear, and I will just have that wonderful little SLURL address that I can copy and put into posters and stuff. If you favorite a place, you'll have a favorites bar, so I have all the places that I go very often in this spot here, and that helps me a lot. So my library is always first, and then SLMOOC and other stuff. Back in the day when I was one of Euhenia's students, I had her location was usually the 3rd one. So you can customize your viewer as well for yourself. The camera controls some of you have found because there are some fantastic pictures in the Moodle and on the Facebook. Letter G and M, I explained. So this is that's where you can find them if you haven't moved them around. And camera control is very important because it allows you. Oh, right. Yeah, G, M, and A. G is a general location. M is a moderate location, so people can be dressed a little. And A is an adult area, and in adult areas, absolutely anything goes, basically. So be careful about that. Yeah, I had a cousin in Second Life who was a musician, and he just thought I was the most boring person he'd ever met in his life in Second Life, and he kept saying, "What do you look like that for? You look like a librarian." It was like, but yeah, that's the point. So, however, no, after you've been in for a while, start showing skin. What can I say? So you want to look at that up in that. Let's go. Oh, sorry, whoever gets that blinky thing. You can look for that up here where it says general, or it'll say moderate, or it'll say adult, and it'll let you know. You can set up your avatar so you don't get or do or see any adult stuff, in the sense that you're not going to get transported off the main grid to the adult grid. But that doesn't mean they can't come and bother us. So it's always good to have ideas of how to get around. So you have these 3 little things at the bottom if you haven't chosen this before. This is another thing that would be great to do. Be all by yourself, mess around with all of these buttons. What do they do? What are they going to show you? What can you learn from them? You can't break the system, so don't worry about it. This is great. You can click here, and that'll take your view off to the right. If you click here, it swings you around to the right, up and down. So this is a swinging motion. This is a flat sort of 2-dimensional movement. And then you have 3 other options. This one that's highlighted in green here, you might be able to see it. That's this area. And then there is zoom, which is this guy, and avatar view. And I think I have more on the next slide. On Zoom, you have two ways to do it: mouse look and object view. This is the poor man's Oculus Rift. It basically gives you the view that your avatar sees. But with object view, you can actually put this little guy on your face and zoom way in, so you can take, oh, let me write this down. Poor man's Oculus Rift. You know, this new headset that they got just puts your vision together, so it's no longer wide range. One sec. So I'm going to go fast here. Anyway, this is how you get into yourself. You put object view and go way in, and you can take a nice picture. These views are avatar views. You can look at yourself from the front, the side, and the rear. Read this. My least favorite rear view. Oh, right now I'm frozen with the coffee cup in front of me. Yes, I have. Oh, just hot tea and cough drops will be fine in a couple of days. Thanks a lot. Okay, so rear view you can see from the back. And that's kind of good if somehow you were looking at yourself from the front, or you were cameraing around and you kind of got lost in the sauce. You're way off someplace and you want to get back quick. Click on this and then just rear view, and you'll be right back with your avatar. If you want to take a photo, get the snapshot. So this is me taking a photo a couple of years ago. And all of this looks very similar in both Firestorm and the Second Life viewer, and you can tell we had slightly different stuff going on inside of the Chilbo thing. Yeah, the escape key will do that. I know, but sometimes, especially when I'm filming, I don't want to hit the escape key because I'm not quite sure what I'm going to see. So I'll sometimes use that to get back to a view that's kind of over my shoulder, because the escape key might go out and reset to something that I don't want to have to edit out of the film. But yeah, escape key can get you out of mouse look or that little object look. Thanks, thanks, Olga. That's very useful information. And that was the photo. And this is zooming in with to get a closer view of the object. And you'll, if you need this, this is also all up on the boards in the other sandbox that we're going to be in later. And then again, another way to get in there and take a look at it. Now you have many more options. You can post to Facebook or other kinds of social media, and you can mess with how big this frame is and so on. That's another thing to do. And then there's lots of photography tutorials. Sorry, I'm taking out a cough up here. And this one is Strawberry Thing again, who's fantastic. And it's just her talk about how you can make simple photo studio free photographs in Second Life. And then this is a YouTube video as well. Well, this is her thing that she made up that is a backdrop. It's like you can't see me gesturing here at the moment. If you see me frozen, but it's a backdrop. And if you go to Visby Island, I don't have the SURL on me at the moment, but you can pick it up from the, hey, SLMOOC, welcome. You can pick it up from the SLMOOC headquarters on the teleport board. One of the little shops that's to the left as you're coming up from the landing point to the auditorium is just various like little venues that you can plunk your avatar in, or a group of avatars, and take photos. It's a pretty neat thing. And then these are other YouTube videos that give you some information about how to use different things and how to make machinima, which is what Drax does. And then, yeah, etiquette. This is sort of weird. People never think about this, but in Second Life, everybody loves to eat and drink. They go to catering stores and buy plates of cookies. They ask what's to eat at their events. They look for the buffet table. It just doesn't matter how old they are. They just want to have a cupcake or a cup of coffee. So that's why we have a cupcake platter and 4 cups of coffee inside of the building. And it's the same old thing. You right-click on it. The menu appears. You pick what you want. If you say yes or keep, it goes into your inventory. And then you go to your inventory, click on the recent tab, and you can find a food or drink. And again, universal, right-click, where the script inside the food or the drink will animate it so that it looks like your avatar is, as they say in the UK, tucking in. And why do we do that? Oh yeah, absolutely. I use the keyboard for walking because you can up key is forward, back key, down key is back, left and right. I use it with the Alt key to zoom around myself, because I hold the Alt key and then click the left arrow. It kind of goes right around in a circle, so I don't have to look at the camera controls. I use the page up, page down to fly and to land. There's a lot of things, and a lot of the old folks that came in, and old folks, some of the original residents that came in 2003, 2006, when it was really kind of starting off, they remember the keyboard shortcuts, which were things like Control M for map or Control P or whatever it might be, and they still use those, and they find those to be really helpful. Me, I just it's a combination of when I want to use the tools and when I want to use the keyboard. Wow, cool. That's a neat mouse. So why do we eat and drink? I think it's verisimilitude. We want to be in an environment. Yeah, it is. It's the learning zone. Good for you. It's actually, I took pictures, I think, from a video of Draxter's a couple of years ago. We want to be in environments that are more real to us and have more familiar events and activities happening. And it just breaks the ice, too. People attending events can talk about the food and the drink as a way to get to know each other. It's a wonderful thing for language learning. You can go around. You're not only using the words to order, to take, what are the names of the stuff, but you might be getting a lesson on how to cook or what's in the kitchen. One of my favorite things that we did back in the day with the Eugenia's Spanish classes was going to this wonderful hacienda and visiting the kitchen and taking a look at the bedroom and talking about all the rooms and the things that we liked and how they worked and all that kind of stuff. So it was a nice environment that taught you what you needed to learn, but also had this kind of sense of familiarity in real life. So, and then it's a big business. Second Life is taking in tens of millions of US dollars in transactions every month. People are tipping the bartenders and the singers and buying drinks and paying cover charges and renting land and buying pre-made tables and chairs and clothing and all that kind of stuff. So we're in this marvelously rich resident-made environment, and we are engaging with it in ways that feel like real life and in ways that feel wonderfully fantastic as well. So that's kind of why that goes on. And etiquette, this depends on where in the world you are. If the world is G-rated or X-rated or something in between, if it's G-rated, kids could be there. Like if you're in Reaction Grid or you're in Kitely or something, there could be children around. If you're off on the adult, on the adult grid at a casino and heading off to a particularly interesting vampire world, then it might be kind of X-rated. So there's a whole different set of rules about behavior. So it depends on the community. It depends on the virtual world as well, and whether or not children are likely to be enrolled. So what do you assume when you can't know who the individual might be in real life? Please on Zoom. Is it too big? What have you guys been doing when you come up across somebody? Yeah, it's on 200. Where do you want me to put it? If I click on, how's that? Is that better? Like under 150? I think you're going to end up seeing, how's that? Does that look good? Ah, I see. Okay. Well, if I do 100, you're going to see the next slide too, because you can already see a little bit of the next slide right here. I think we're good here. Well, how do you handle that when you're meeting somebody for the first time in Second Life? And sorry, just a sec. Well, we're talking about different things that you need to know as a new person, and about etiquette. So, what do you assume when you can't know who the individual may be in? Oh, go ahead. Thank you for coming, and I'm so sorry we had to do this jump. In about 4:30, I'll be enrolled for the workshop, and nobody has to come if they don't want to. I'll be in the playground. The sandbox is above to the north of the SLMOOC rather than behind it, and they're just showing people the boards and all that stuff. So basically, let me answer this question. You also, you have to assume that this is a person that's a good person, that's a person like you, that's a person you want to respect, and that you want to treat them in the best way possible. It may happen that in the interaction, yeah, I know, my video has frozen, and I'm not sure why that happened. I can try turning it off and turning it back on again. But I'm not sure that that's going to unfreeze it. Yeah, now it's gone altogether. Because my internet connection has been coming and going, but we're all still here. So that's the best thing, is to try to treat people as if they were, treat them the way you would want people to treat you as a stranger. If you type a question, how long is too long when you're waiting for a reply, and the answer to that is it's almost never too long. So you want to be very, very patient when people are replying, because they may be translating something in their head to write to you in your language. They may be using a different kind of interface, and that's kind of a difficult thing. Yeah, the video is stopped. I'm sorry about that, but you can see the slides still, right? And it doesn't matter if your back is to the person you're talking to. Yes, it does. And the reason why it does is that people take the cues from the way the room is set up. So, for instance, we have had speakers who are facing the group, and we've had speakers who are kind of off to the side, and the group kind of has to camera around to be able to see them from the front. In my opinion, if you're facing the group, it's more congenial and people are feeling more comfortable and more included. And if you're sort of off to the side and you're forcing people to do extra stuff to be able to see you, that's not such a good thing to do. So that's another piece of advice. Now, these are things that are also for you to go and get from the PowerPoint. And like I said, the PowerPoint in the Moodle is just a PowerPoint. So all of these links are live once you get it and download it. And these are various either blog posts or videos about great places to go and eat and drink and etiquette in new areas. So, and how do you handle certain situations and so on. Strawberry Sings blog is also very, very good in that regard. I'm going to pop this up a little higher because it's getting kind of off the track here. Yep. So here's my, yeah, it's on Info Teachers, right. It's in the resources area on the PowerPoint list. So, and they're there as 2 PowerPoints, and they're real PowerPoints, they're not PDFs. So they're all live. If you're invited to a new venue, show appreciation, even if it's very weird and you're not sure how you feel about it. If you're passing through, don't feel like you have to say hello to everybody. That's one thing that newcomers really hate to do. And sometimes you just scare the heck out of the person walking by you by interacting with them first. If you've had a conversation, say goodbye. And try and wait for them to say goodbye to you. Don't just teleport out of there before they have a chance to say goodbye. Don't use rude gestures, especially if they're accompanied by an annoying sound. Like I know lots of people love to use these little children giggling sounds, and some of the rest of us aren't so happy. Remember that there are people running all of these avatars. Each one of these avatars has a person behind it. So you want to treat them well. And if you have something private to say during an event that doesn't have to do with what's going on in the event, use instant message if you can. Sometimes I don't do that, and I feel bad when I don't, but it's better to keep private messages off the video chat. And just keep it exploring. That's the best advice, I think. So, if you have already taken a picture of yourself in a university environment and posted it to the Moodle, you don't have to do this assignment. And you don't actually have to do it anyway, but it's just that, if you'd like to. If you'd like to, you can't see the full page. Okay, let me pull it down again. Whoops, not doing this very well. Wrong button. Okay, let me see if I can get this. Can you see it now? Because I've got it down to 100%, and now you're seeing both of the last slides. Okay, oh good. Okay, well, fine. That's good. So the assignment is to take a photo that's panoramic and save it to your computer. And take a photo that's close up and save it to your computer. And then you can upload it to the week 2 discussion forum in the Moodle with a description. If you've already uploaded photos, don't worry, you don't have to do this, but you can take new photos if you want. You can upload it to the Facebook page, or you can include it in your reflection in week 5 that you do for the certificate. Or if you have some money in your Second Life account, you can save it to your own Second Life inventory and drop a copy in the mailbox at the SLMOOC headquarters, and we'll frame it and put it up on the wall. So that would be really wonderful. So that's the assignment, to do some more photo work as you wander around and see what you find and so on. Now this is where we're going in about 20 minutes. If you want to come in and join me, this is the Second Life. Let me write it into the chat. It is also on the wall board. And it's also within viewing distance if you're standing in the doorway of the Second Life, the SLMOOC headquarters. Oh, thank you very much. I didn't get it out there fast enough. 135. Okay. That'll work. I was standing in a different position, but it's okay. This used to be called the SLMOOC playground. It's actually now called Greater Chilbo Sandbox. You go, if you're standing in the building of the SLMOOC headquarters and you're looking to the north, so straight out the building, you'll see the size of these placards from the yeah, go ahead. Thank you so much, Eugenia. I'm just about to stop. Actually, there's one more slide. These little placards here, you can see from the doorway. I'm going to go down one so they're at the top. I guess it won't go any higher, but that's okay. You'll see this at the doorway. Let me get this up a little bigger. Oh, now it's mad at me. We'll stop there. Okay, so you can see these from the doorway of the SLMOOC. And if you come on up here, this is another sandbox. You can open boxes and build and do whatever you want. And each one of these boards has one of those skills that was in these 2 PowerPoints. So that's where we're going in about 20 minutes. So that's everything. And obviously you can't keep all of this in your head, and the links are live. So the idea is to go to the MOOC resources section and pick up the links that you think are going to be interesting for you from the PowerPoint. And then we'll see you in about 20 minutes up on that hill in front of the SLMOOC. Anybody have any questions? Thanks, Maria. Lots of people typing. People don't believe me. Second Life is working better than web conferences. I agree. I agree. We actually talk about doing everything inside of Second Life, but there are not a lot of people in the course who are following from the Moodle and not coming into Second Life because they don't have the acute computer equipment and all that stuff. Yeah, Alexander, that's so true. Well, watching Dragster Dupre's files is a real great way to do it. Not to worry, Carmen, not to worry. Okay, well, thank you guys, and thank you for having the patience to come over here and join me over here on this end. And this will be recorded and up into the playlist. I just finished editing the Torben Asp music performance, and that will be up there probably later this evening. And then also I'll have Kate Miranda up there this evening as well. Gina Pickersgill is doing the Nina Lancaster movie for me, and I've got a recording from Heike Phil that I need to re-record, and we'll be all set. Hopefully we'll be all caught up by the end of this week, if not sooner. So thank you guys, and I will be in the sandbox in about 15 minutes, it looks like. So thank you so much. See you later, or have a good day if you don't join us. Bye now.